Hi everyone, my name is Andrea and I'm a student at Berea College. I am also part of the Entrepreneurship for the Public Good program. Over the last couple of years, the New York Times has released a series of videos called 36 Hours in the U.S. I have been reviewing these videos to gain a perspective on travel tourism, and I've noticed that my college town of Berea, Kentucky was not detailed, so I thought I'd introduce Berea to the internet world of YouTube. But before I begin, I would like to give you a background on the type of person who might visit Berea. My 36 Hours follows the fictional character of Josiah Jordan Allen, portrayed by Kim Possible. First off, yes, her name is Josiah. Her parents thought she was going to be a boy, but you can call her Joe for short. Joe represents an individual most likely to visit Berea, Kentucky. She is young, educated, and loves outdoor activities as well as history and art. Joe is 22 years old and from Denver, Colorado. Her trail name is Drop. I'm not sure if many of you know, but people acquire trail names when they experience a certain event on the trail and others give them the name. Well, when she met some of her trail friends, she dropped out of a tree down to greet them. So her full trail name is actually Tree Drop, but she likes Drop better. Anyway, Josiah recently graduated from Vanderbilt University. She studied business administration and German. In 2 years, she will be starting at the Owen Grad School of Management at Vanderbilt, but for now, she wanted time off. Josiah is a major history buff and loves visiting museums as well as art shows. Joe decided to take a year off to relieve some stress before grad school. She likes to hike and bike. Joe loves traveling as well. She actually took a bike tour around Potsdam, Germany. So that combined all of her loves and passions into one bundle: hiking, biking, traveling, and German. And I bet you're wondering, how is she able to travel so much? Well, Josiah comes from a middle class family. Her family has some money because they own a gym back home in Colorado. And she went to Vanderbilt on scholarship because she was really smart. Although she has a little money, Josiah is very conservative with her money and she spends it consciously. She actually saved $3,050 for the trip across the U.S., and that's money she earned from working and having fundraisers. And now Josiah does not stop at every city to spend money, but she really wanted to visit Berea. Josiah is very organized. She has been planning her trip across the U.S. for 5 months, and ever since winter break. She actually planned her trip using the social media platforms of Yelp and TripAdvisor, so she got to read all of the reviews. But of course, Joe had to experience it for herself. Thus began her journey as a trans-American cyclist. Throughout her journey, Joe hopes to see more of the U.S. and experience life. She likes to travel outside of the U.S., but aside from visiting destinations throughout, she has never really seen the beauty of the land that she calls home. So she thought that what would be a better chance than to go traveling right before school starts back. Now, of course, there are some challenges that Joe may face as a trans-American cyclist. One, she is not very experienced in cross-country cycling, so it may be tough to get adjusted while traveling alone initially. She doesn't stay alone, of course. Another challenge Joe faces is that she likes to do too many things at one time, and that is why she's always so busy and decided to relieve some stress. Joe has been traveling since the beginning of May. She started in Virginia and traveled through Damascus. Her next stop is through Berea, Kentucky. Josiah learned that Berea was the arts capital of Kentucky, so naturally she planned to stop in the city. Now, welcome to 36 Hours in Berea. On Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock, Joe checked into America's Best Value Inn. Now, normally Joe would log on to warm showers and stay with a person who was willing to host her for free. But this time, Joe decided to get comfortable at the inn. America's Best Value Inn cost $49 a night, and it had great reviews on TripAdvisor. After checking in and freshening up, Joe decided to bike to the Log Craft Gallery at 2:30 p.m. She was intrigued by the idea that students work in the gallery and make the products. Joe bought some crafts to send home to her mom. It was really awesome that the gallery was able to send them for her. Joe spent around $30. Next, Joe had a campus tour at 3:30. She had heard so much about the college and called ahead to ask for a visit. Berea College was established in 1855 by abolitionist John G. Fee, who wished to see blacks and whites go to the same school, as well as men and women. Berea was the first interracial college in the South, as well as the second coeducational college in the South. By the time 6:30 came around, Joe was really hungry after her tour. She decided to visit Cracker Barrel, which was right by her hotel. And although she is from Colorado, Joe went to school in Tennessee and is a country girl at heart. She had some of the best pancakes of her life for dinner at Cracker Barrel, and she loved it. It was different from her usual burger and fries or salad. After dinner, she walked across the hotel to put her things away, and then she headed to Old Town for First Friday. Joe spent around $12.89 at Cracker Barrel. First Friday is a festival held on the first Friday of every month. There is music and dancing and so much fun. Joe spent around $5 at the vendor stations. This one woman made tiny little fruit pies that were to die for. There, Joe ran into her trail buddy Wesley, trail name Pants Off. They decided to spend the rest of the days in Berea together. Joe then decided to go back to her hotel and sleep. Wesley, who had just arrived in town, had not found a place to stay yet, so Joe decided to give him the extra bed in her room, thus reducing the cost she would have to pay. Now, Joe and Wesley are normally night owls, but after such an eventful day, they decided to crash, and Joe had the sneaking suspicion that tomorrow will be just as eventful as today. Joe rose early Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. For a morning energizer. She visited Berea Coffee and Tea, the local coffee shop. Now, Joe had a really good hazelnut frappe for only $5. After becoming energized around 10 a.m., Joe decided to hike the beautiful pinnacles with Wesley. They took a couple of hours to hike and admire the scenery. Indian Fort is a great hiking location and is not very difficult, and Joe loves to hike, only when it's safe, however. Starved by 2 p.m., Joe went to Rio Grande Mexican restaurant. There she had a large portion of nachos fajitas. The meal and the drink cost about $7.99, and it was very delicious and authentic. Around 4 p.m., Joe and Wesley visited the Kentucky Artisan Center and then Old Town. Berea is becoming a trail town, so Old Town, home of the city's trailhead, had much to offer. Joe and Wesley went to the glass blowing studio, as well as the Gastineau studio, which turns metal into structure. Joe and Wesley also stopped by the Fudge Factory shop and spent $5 on an Oreo fudge bar that was magically delicious. Around 8 p.m., Joe and Wesley visited the Berea Arena Theater. All of the actors in the theater are local. For an $8 ticket, Joe saw the hilarious comedy of Noel and Reb by Paul Power. As suspected, Joe and Wesley were tired when they got back to the hotel room. They slept the entire night. It was wonderful. Joe and Wesley woke up late on Sunday morning around 11 a.m. They visited the historic Boone Tavern, which was named after Daniel Boone. Now, Joe loves history, and has become some sort of expert on Daniel Boone. Hungry before hitting the road at 1 p.m., Joe and Wesley decided to visit Main Street Cafe. Now, very health conscious, Joe would normally get a salad, but she heard that the burgers were really good, and so she had to try one. Now, actually, they weren't that great, but the mozzarella sticks were. Joe and Wesley decided to fuel up on water before hitting the road. Jo has made it her summer mission to discover all there is to know about Daniel Boone and his pathways through Appalachia. As she and Wesley left the beautiful arts capital of Kentucky, she noticed 3 Daniel Boone trace markers, 2 of which were given by the Daughters of the American Revolution. They marked the pioneer Daniel Boone's path as he trailblazed through Berea. Now, I bet you're wondering what's next for Joe and Wesley. Well, they had such an amazing time in Berea. They got to experience the culture of the town. Through hiking trails, visiting centers, and eating, Joe only spent around $170 to $230. Berea is a very cost-efficient town. However, I do admit the food can get kind of costly. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed your 36 hours in Berea.